Chances are, if you're watching this video, you're about to buy a new computer and are trying to decide between a Mac and a PC. Although it really comes down to personal choice and what you do with the computer, hopefully these pros and cons will guide you in the right direction. First, let's go over the pros and the cons of the Mac. First of all, because Apple both designs and builds the software and the hardware, everything works together seamlessly. In the case of Microsoft Windows, you have one company designing and building the software, and then hundreds of companies trying to build hardware to work around that. With Apple, everyone's on the same team. Another major advantage of the Mac, aside from their top-notch design, would be pretty much their ability to claim that they're virus-proof. Most of the time when viruses, malware, spyware, whatever you want to call it, is designed, it's targeted towards the PC community since it's much larger. It really wouldn't make much sense to make a virus for the Mac. It just wouldn't be worth their time, quite frankly, because there are just not that many Macs out there, and even if there were, the Mac is also much more secure, so it's more difficult to make these viruses. Also, Macs are preloaded with some really well-made applications such as iPhoto, iMovie, and GarageBand. Although most PC makers will include some similar software on their computers, most of the time it's trialware, and they're paid to put that on there because these software makers hope that you will like their products and then eventually buy them. In comparison, Apple gives you the full product, and regardless of if you buy, like for instance, if you buy an HP computer instead of an Asus, you may have a different photo application. You have to learn it all over again. With the Apple, you're going to get iPhoto each and every time. It might be updated, but you'll at least be familiar with it. Another thing worth mentioning is that the Mac will work very well with other Apple devices. For instance, the Apple TV or an iPhone. Everything just works much better together. The Mac already has the drivers and everything it needs to connect with these products, and in some cases will do more with those products than you could with a PC. Now let's go over some of the cons. The biggest con is the price tag. For instance, a Dell Xeno HD base price is $300 versus the Mac Mini base price of $700. A comparable, although the Mac Mini is more powerful, if you bump up the specs on the Dell Xeno to closely match the Mac Mini, it's still only $350, which is half the cost of a Mac Mini. And this extends throughout Apple's product line. For instance, their MacBook Pro, if you want a 15-inch, which that's kind of the popular laptop size, your cheapest price is going to be $1,800 with Mac. And I don't have to tell you, there's a lot more cheaper options in the Windows world of things. Even if you got a Windows computer that was comparable in specs to the MacBook Pro, it would be much, much cheaper than $1,800. Another major disadvantage of owning a Mac is that you won't be able to run all your programs. Now when you go to the store, you have to buy the Mac version of your software. So let's say that you really love Quicken. Well, there's no Mac version of Quicken, so if you want to keep running Quicken, you're going to have to stick with a PC. And this is where most people decide to stick with a PC rather than get a Mac. Now let's take a look at the pros and cons of the PC. The pros list is very short, but they have the most important advantage. It's compatible with almost anything. Not only the software, but also the hardware. You don't have to worry about whether a certain software title is going to be compatible with your computer. It just is. It's not like the Mac where you need a specific version. This also helps out on the hardware side of things because there's a lot more competition. With Apple, there's only one person making the hardware and they can set the price they want. But in the PC world, there's hundreds of companies all trying to get your dollar, which brings down the prices. Now let's take a look at some of the cons of the PC. As stated earlier, the PC is much more susceptible to viruses and is a main selling point of the Mac. The other major disadvantage of owning a PC is the number of errors. Because there's just so many programs and so many different hardware manufacturers and all these people trying to work together, there's a much higher chance that you're going to have errors on your computer versus a Mac where, as stated earlier, everybody's on the same team. The software and the hardware are each designed for each other. Ultimately, you're going to have to be the one that makes a decision to get either the Mac or the PC. I strongly suggest that you try out both of them. Now you know a couple things to look out for. If you live in an area where there's an Apple store, please do yourself a favor, go to the store and ask the employees to just give you a brief tour. If you're not in an area where an Apple store is close by, try to find a friend or go on Craigslist and see if someone there is trying to sell an Apple product. Maybe they can help make your decision, or at least show you around so you can make your own decision. But hopefully this guide is helpful, and I hope that whatever you decide is the right choice for you.